What's up? It's Adrian from ProductionCrate.com. You didn't know I could go that high.
Hey everybody, Chris Kelly with ProductionCrate.com. Also here. Thank you.
Nice. Chris, we don't actually own a camera that can shoot 100,000 frames per second. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and assume that the creators don't either.
Oh, wah, wah.
But that doesn't mean we don't want ultra super duper slow motion. I just think that the best way to do this would be using good old visual effects.
You know, I think you are right. We have done some object tracking in the past using Cinema 4D, and it actually worked out super well. Adrian broke one of our prop airsoft guns.
Allegedly.
Recently. How did you pull that off, by the way?
Allegedly, I just knocked it off the shelf.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. I'm usually so careful with them.
Well, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because that inspired us to do this awesome tutorial.
Not a total blessing because I did break the best one.
That's true.
All right, if you want a whole tutorial about this process, we have one where we give a unicorn a giant sword. I would like to say it makes sense in context, but
It doesn't.
I gotta be honest with you. All right, so basically we glued a bunch of bright colored balls to some sticks, and then we glued those sticks to the gun handle.
Technology.
The pinnacle of VFX technology. The bright, vibrant colors help Cinema 4D with object tracking. You can see here we actually have a bunch of different configurations of these, and that's because we tried out a few different ideas before we landed on this slow motion gun idea. Our plan here is to roto out the entire gun and replace it with a 3D one. This 3D Desert Eagle model is actually completely free on RenderCrate.com.
I like the completely free, because like what would a partially free gun be? You can get the handle for free, but you gotta pay for the rest. Yeah, I mean, it's a super high quality gun model too. This thing is rad. Look at this. Look at how big it is with the hand. So is the hand tiny or is the gun big?
I don't know, it's your hand, bro.
Yeah, it's slightly under average. With object tracking in Cinema 4D, we need at least 8 points to track, which I think in the previous tutorial we mentioned the wrong thing, so ignore that tutorial.
How am I supposed to ignore this? I can see it in my dreams.
8 points tracked is the minimum. We made sure to place all the trackers where they will be visible to the camera the entire time. If one tracking marker blocks out some of the others, you won't be able to pull a good track, so watch out for that. You may want to put the farther away tracking markers higher up so they don't get obscured by the tracking markers that are closer to the camera. Also, if you know you're going to have a bunch of various angles, it might be worth having a couple different props with tracking markers with different layouts.
We did a quick test to make sure that this idea would work, and everything seemed to work perfect. That's a reference to us.
Perfect.
Perfect.
So we went ahead and we did it for real. Since we don't have that 100,000 frames per second camera, we just pretended to shoot in slow motion. Acting.
Being.
Once the gun is tracked in, we could animate the slidey thingy and the shell thingy and the triggery thingamajig.
Adrian knows a lot about guns. He's from Texas.
I am from Texas. Howdy.
Defer to his judgment here.
Thanks, y'all.
That was the first time you've ever said howdy.
We also added in a bullet and some bullet casings, both of which can be found on RenderCrate.com. Probably they're the same model, just separate the parts.
Yep. In After Effects, we keyed out our footage and masked out the gun, and also did a tighter roto around those fingers. By the way, that finger with the bruise, it's because I closed it in my car door. Don't do that. Don't.
Step 1, be careful with your car door. Step 2, glue a bunch of balls to a stick.
And now you're an artist.
The gun should already be casting a pretty good shadow on the hands because there was a real-ish gun there in real life. But we do need to fake a shadow from the fingers back onto the gun. We don't want to use a standard drop shadow because that's going to look real fake and After Effects-y.
Instead, duplicate the fingers layer and add a black fill effect to that, then add a fast box blur and then a levels. Bring in both the black point and the white point on the levels to make more of a blobby shape, then add another fast box blur over the top of that. shot. This is going to give us a stronger shadow where the fingers are all bunched up together rather than a uniform shape overall. You can use the CG gun as an alpha matte.
Whoop, whoop. You're much better at the whoops.
Whoop, whoop.
There you go. Alpha matte. Definitely clipped.
Worth it.
This isn't specific to this effect or anything, but just so you know, we did have some trouble finding a background image that we liked that also had the correct perspective. So we fixed one using the perspective warp in Photoshop, which I learned just for this. We also made a fake depth map using a big old cube in Element 3D so that we could blur the background out more realistically than if we had just applied a flat lens blur, because that never looks real. But Element isn't actually necessary for this. We actually could have done it with gradients and just some 3D solids just as easily. As a matter of fact, more easily, I think.
Probably.
I used the expensive plugin for no reason.
We also threw in one of the SWAT guys from the extras category on FootageCrate.com and some fog back there as well to add in a little more movement and life. We did slow them down though. We don't want too much life.
Anytime you slow something down, you want to make sure you turn on frame blending.
We also took one of these real life, actual real, super real, shot in real life muzzle flashes from Footage Crate and added that in as well. These were shot, I think at like 240 frames per second or something, so they're not actually 10,000 frames per second. But you didn't know that till I told you. Don't act like you knew. These ones have some really cool sparks and that just added a little extra embellishment that we enjoyed. We used the puppet pin tool to keep it tracked to the barrel without having to actually keyframe its position because that would look wonky. There's actually an old school Adrian tutorial on this. Remember that one, Adrian? I think it's like the
Harry Potter
musket,
one?
The musket muzzle flash.
I used puppet pin for that?
Yeah, it's old school, man. It's like 2015.
I don't even remember. If
Look
it
it
turns
up.
out to be correct, it'll be on screen right now.
Ba-bam. If it's not, that ba-bam won't work really well.
To do this, you want to add a solid composite effect, any color that you want as long as you can see it. Nico, what's your favorite color?
Navy blue.
Baby blue.
Then add one puppet pin at the origin of the flash and one more towards the center. The origin of the flash made me think of like Flash
Barry
number
Allen.
1. Yeah. That's why I hesitated on that a little bit.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something.
The origin of the flash is a particle accelerator explosion and a lightning bolt.
That would kill a dude, I'm pretty sure.
All right, now you can turn off the solid composite effect. It was just there so that the alpha channel wouldn't screw up this puppet pin mesh. Now we just keyframe the first pin to match up with the tip of the barrel.
Easy peasy. We also added in one of these sideways fog clips and used the same puppet trick to keep it attached to the gun. Then to get some smoke coming out the back of the pistol where the slidey thing does the other slidey thing.
That's correct, I'm from Texas.
Yep, checks out. We used one of the aerial hits available on Footage Crate. We also put another sideways fog clip really big in the background just to really emphasize movement and power of the gunshot. To make this a bit more interesting, we did
It's not interesting enough for you already?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess it's pretty cool. But I wanna make mention of this. To make things even a bit more interesting, we did a digital camera move, which wasn't too difficult because we shot things in 4K resolution and then mastered at 1080p. See, sometimes we plan ahead. To add some extra ka-punch to things, we use the Crate's camera shake script to add a jolt of camera shake after the gun goes off. Since this is a slow motion shot, we slow down the keyframes. To do this, just highlight all the keyframes, grab either the first or the last one, and move it while holding down the Alt key. This is going to stretch the timing of all of the keyframes you have selected, like a slow jolt.
It's a jolt. Adding a final color grade is what really made this thing look good. Not all that other work we did, just turning it green. We used Red Giant Magic Bullet Mojo 2 to get a cool John Wicky green color grade very easily.
Yeah. Hey, Red Giant, if you're listening, you're awesome.
And if you're not listening, come on, support us.
Yeah, what? Come on.
I thought we were friends.
RG,
We
baby.
watch your videos.
RG, where you at?
RG.
Now I know some of you are also from Texas and might say that this isn't perfectly realistic, but you know what? I never really care too much about realism. I care more
Bro.
about believability, and those two things are not necessarily synonymous. Also, I care if things just look really cool, and this does, so eat that, suckers. I'm out of here. Later, Kratos.
Later, Chris.